How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at 10 cheap or affordable Fords that you can buy for under around £30,000 that are pretty much either classics today or future classics. Some have already hit dream car status and some of them are probably on their way to being there one day in the distant future. That's the thing about fast Fords, is that when they come out they are generally the every man's fun car, so everyone can go out and buy the Ford and enjoy the Ford and have fun in it and mess around with it, all that kind of stuff. And then years down the line, I'm talking like 30, 40 years down the line, they become absolutely like gold dust. Think about the Mk1 Escort, particularly the Mexico, the Mk2 Escort, the Mk3 Escort, just Escorts basically, RS 200, 1700, blah, blah, blah. You get the picture. They are all just mad expensive dream cars today. Anyway, less than me talking. Remember, I'm in the UK, so prices in other countries may differ. And don't forget that whenever you buy any second-hand car, maintenance, repairs, insurance, road tax, all that good stuff is important to remember because it can be quite costly. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Hit the like button as well if you like this video and like Fords as well. Subscribe as well if you're new. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's kick this video off with what Ford intended to be the European equivalent of the Ford Mustang, the Capri, with its 2.8 litre V6 in the Mk3, which makes 160 brake horsepower and will get to 60 in 8.2 seconds. Not rapid today, but back in 1978 that was reasonably hot stuff. You can get all three gens of the Ford Capri within this video's price range, and the original was designed by Philip Clark, who was also part of the team that designed the Mustang, hence the link. Though it's a lovely and appreciating classic car today, it didn't have quite as positive a reception by British media back when it came out, being named a Cortina in drag by Car Magazine. Irrespective though, by the third generation it had cemented itself as a staple British fastback coupe, and it gained some nice design features like the bonnet leaning over the quad headlights and the better aero to make it more economical to drive. It sadly lost its target market in the 1980s though, as it was the rise of the hot hatch and sales figures began to dwindle. Today though, it's definitely already a classic and one for the museum sooner or later. All generations are available for under £30,000, starting at around £6,000 for a ropey example, and you'll get a stunning Mk3 in the later years from around £25,000. Blown head gaskets and warped heads are known on the V6 though, so be wary, and they're pretty old, so expect rust, particularly around the wings, sills and wheel arches. We're jumping forward in time to the 2000s for 9th on this list, the original Ford Fiesta ST, which is a 2 litre inline-4 engine that makes 147 brake horsepower and will get to 60 in 7.9 seconds. I've spoken about this car in many previous videos as an underrated little warm hatch that is a jack of many trades. It's great if you like modding, if you like track driving, and even if you just like the idea of getting into a fast Ford but don't have fast Ford cash. No, it's not blisteringly quick, but I personally feel like it's aging well in terms of its aesthetics, and it really does handle well even standard. It really captures what it is to be a cheap and cheerful warm hatch, and I would say it's actually my favourite Fiesta ST generation. These are listed for a minimum of around £1,500, and the most you'll spend to get a perfect example would be around £8,000. Timing chain tensioners, gearboxes and throttle bodies are the key issues to look out for on these, so definitely take a test drive and listen and feel for noises and crunches. In 8th we have the Ford Escort RS Turbo Series 2, produced between 1986 and 1992, which is a 1.6 litre turbocharged inline-4 that makes 132 brake horsepower and will get to 60 in 7.8 seconds. Now if you're into fast Fords, you definitely know about the Escort Cosworth, and you probably know about the Escort RS Turbo Series 1, both of which were homologation specials to some degree for their World Rally Championship entries. The Series 2 sadly wasn't a homologation special, and purists tend to go for the Series 1, but that has meant its prices have remained relatively low considering the package you're getting. Reviews note it's a more useful car than the homologation special, as Ford were able to build it specifically with people in mind rather than racing, and wanted the car to sell well against the hot hatch competitors in the market at the time. The minimum I could find these listed for is around £14,000, and for 30k you'd be looking at a pretty lush example with around 50k on the clock. The engine is known to be tough, but can sound quite bad, which usually means it's time for a service. Head gasket failure isn't unheard of either, and the main shaft of the gearbox is a key weak point. It's a car with a mad cult following, taking 7th on this list, the Ford Mondeo ST220, which has a surprising 3-litre V6 engine that makes 222 brake horsepower and will get to 60 in 7.4 seconds. The Mondeo name will be phased out of existence in March 2022. If you're watching this after that, then sorry for your loss. The ST220 was built on the 2nd gen chassis, following on from the ST200, which is actually the only car Clarkson, Hammond and May all like. The ST220 is a proper sleeper car, as who expects a 3-litre V6 to come out of a Mondeo, even despite its ever so slightly more aggressive body kit and interior clad with Recaro bucket seats. I'd look to get one post 2003 for the 6-speed manual box, but be aware that the majority will have high mileage given the age and purpose of these cars, often used as executive saloons rather than showpieces. With that in mind, £1,000 is the lowest that I could find these listed for, and you won't need to spend more than £8,000 to get one in good condition. The engine is known to be strong as well, which is good. Instead, it's the electrics that owners seem to complain about. The engine can have chain tensioner issues and ticking cams and uneven idling when hot. There are some properly nice fast forwards on this list, but arguably the most iconic of this collection is the Sierra RS Cosworth, which in its most recent iteration came in all-wheel drive to try to stand a better chance in the World Rally Championship. In this spec, it has a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 engine that makes 220 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. Now, many people are fans of the rear-wheel drive Sierra RS Cosy, with the whale tail spoiler that the Escort Cosworth is also known for. However, in the later stages of the car's life, the 3rd gen came out with its all-wheel drive layout, which was supposed to arrive in 1987, but ended up appearing in 1990 as the gearbox Ford needed to make the car wasn't available in time. Ford originally wanted to make it a 3-door, but sadly the 4-door was chosen as they expected to sell it better, and to be fair, I think today it's not that big of a deal to most buyers, and on release it was hugely popular, all the way up until it was replaced by the Mondeo, despite not making a mark in the World Rally Championship. Their name still sadly precedes them, and you won't find many under £25,000, but you will just about snag an all-wheel drive example for under 30k. The engine is considered to be exceptional and is capable of way more power than it has standard. However, it's also known to go wrong, so look for a YBJ/YBG engine, which is the stronger option. If you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button, I would really appreciate it. Let's try and hit 2,000 likes on this video. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. We're so close to 100k and I'd love to get there before the end of the month. One Fiesta ST wasn't enough for this list, so here is a second one based on the Mk8 Fiesta. It has a 1.5 litre turbocharged inline-3 that makes 197 brake horsepower and will do 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds. For a Fiesta, this is a hugely capable little car with a Quaife LSD in the Performance Pack edition, as well as that engine coming with cylinder deactivation tech to be even more useful on fuel economy. You can get it as either a 3 or a 5-door, and on release it was praised for actually enhancing the previous generation, despite that gen having sparkling reviews. It was even named Top Gear's Hot Hatch and Car of the Year in 2018, and though it is of course a long way between now and its classic status, it will likely be one of the most capable Fiestas we ever see on the road. These are obviously relatively new, so prices haven't depreciated as much as you'd maybe like at this point. They start at around £17,000, and for 30k you'll get a nearly new example. Some owners have noted problems with oil leaks from the cam cover, and the Silver Fox colourway is known to have issues with the paint. Now it's time for my personal favourite car on this list, the Mk1 Focus RS, with its 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 that makes 215 brake horsepower and manages 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. Once the Escorts disappeared, there was no car to take up the rally sport mantle until the Focus came about, and Colin McRae hammered it around the world, becoming a sporting icon in the process. In honour of that WRC car, Ford created the Focus RS, and though it remained front-wheel drive, it still looked relatively similar to the race car with its more aggressive body kit and alloys. Just over 2,000 were sold to us here in the UK, and more than 70% of the mechanicals are different to the standard Focus, including again a Quaife diff for ultimate torque application at those front wheels. Unless it's been painted or wrapped, you'll only get this car in Imperial Blue, so I hope you're a fan of that colour. These listed for around £17,000 at the bottom end, and for 30k you'll get a 2003 model in excellent condition. The biggest problem now is rust, particularly behind the sill covers, and some owners have complained about losing power horsepower as a result of the charge cooler. It's another Focus taking third on this list, this time arguably the fan favourite RS, the Mk2, with its 2.5 litre turbocharged inline 5 which makes 300 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds. Yet another car to celebrate Ford's involvement in rallying, with people like Marco Martin taking it to some WRC success. The Mk2 RS is an amazing looking and sounding car thanks to that modified Volvo inline 5. Though Ford said this car was as close as you'll come to driving a full spec rally car, it wasn't actually a homologation special, so that's a little bit of marketing if I'm being negative. That said, the Mk2 literally arrived off the back of the success of the first generation, as the Mk1 sold so well and did such a great job of reigniting people's passion for fast Fords that the Mk2 was almost a given. It uses both aero and ground effect to give it pretty mad handling, and was only available in 3 colours from factory in standard spec. This certified future classic starts at around £20,000, and for 30k you'll get a nice example with around 40,000 miles on the clock. Early cars suffered from pretty catastrophic issues, but they should have been sold for later models, but outside of those, there's little to be afraid of with these in terms of the powertrain. Some are also known to have wheel arch rust. In second we have the 6th generation Ford Mustang, which is a 5 litre V8 engine producing 410 brake horsepower, more than any other car on this list, taking it to 60 in 4.6 seconds. The Mustang is one of the most well-known cars in the world, so of course it's likely to be a future classic, but for me the Mark 6 really upgraded the model to the modern era, practically putting it in the cheap exotic region. For under 30k you get a properly beefy car whose interior was designed to be similar to the Ford GT and the cockpits of airplanes. This makes more sense when you realise it was built to rival cars like the Porsche 911 GT3, BMW M4 and Mercedes C63 AMG, all of which are pretty exotic in their own right. Unlike previous Mustangs, it's pretty capable outside of just going quick in a straight line and sounding good, as it comes with Brembo brakes, Recaro seats and lightweight carbon fibre parts, as well as a pretty nice 6-speed manual gearbox if you want it. £27,000 is the minimum that you'll find these listed for at the moment, and for 30k you'll get a 2016 model with around 40,000 miles on it. Some early models had issues with oil coolers, but the key problem owners note is running costs, with that 5 litre V8 burning through petrol, brake pads and tyres. Taking the top spot is the third and final Ford Focus RS, with its 2.3 litre turbocharged inline 4 engine that makes 345 brake horsepower and will get to 60 in 4.5 seconds. Ford merged their US Special Vehicle team, EU Team RS and Aussie FPV team together and created this Mark III Focus RS, which ended up being the final RS to date, as Ford scrapped their plans for a new RS with the Mark IV generation. Finally it came in all-wheel drive to match the rally cars of the past, despite not actually being a WRC car and instead taking part in the FIA Global Rallycross Championship under the Hoonigan division. As potentially the final Focus RS we'll ever see, it's hard to argue against this car as a future classic. It's also obviously the most capable, and it has pretty good looks both outside and in, with the aggressive Recaro seats that many hot hatches love. These start at around £25,000, and for 30k you'll get a 2017 model around 30,000 miles on the clock. Failing head gaskets were known on early examples, though most would have been fixed under warranty. Look for one post July 2017 to make sure it was upgraded to deal with this issue. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comments down below, and let me know in the comments what other brands you'd like to see me do this kind of video on. I know you guys have been enjoying the German brands recently, thought I'd bring forward, and I'd like to do a Japanese brand, so let me know which Japanese brand you'd like to see. Massive thanks to the patrons as always for their support, and to you guys as well for watching. I'll see you in the next one.